Good afternoon, friends. Come on in, type in freedom now. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law, where we believe in immigration freedom. Come on in today, join the discussion. We're going to have a terrific time together, going over some really important decisions that are coming out of the courts, the U.S. Supreme Court, and then lower courts. And then we're going to go right into the Q&A segment. If you're watching from anywhere here in the United States or globally, type in freedom now and certainly let us know where you're joining from today. Say hello on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, McBean Immigration TV. Say hello, hello, hello. We can be reached, friends, for those of you who have important problems, right, with your immigration case here in the United States, or if you're stuck outside of the US and you need help come into the United States, you could certainly reach out to us at 914-898-9488 or email us at info@McBeanLaw, where you can request an appointment with an attorney. Everyone starts off with an appointment through an attorney at our firm. It's very nice to see you. I hope you had a terrific weekend. There's so much going on, friends, but we're here together. We're getting through all of this together. Decisions came out last week that were difficult to discuss with you and difficult to swallow, quite frankly. But we're together in this battle, so to speak, with immigration today here in the US. Type in freedom now. It's good to see some of our usual subscribers here on McBean Immigration TV. Be sure to share this with your feed, guys, if you're joining on Facebook, and be sure to share this live session so that others will see what we're discussing today. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. The first big issue, of course, has to do with the fact that the U.S. Supreme Court is going to make a decision any minute now. It could be today, it could be another time, but many of us are expecting that the decision will come out today regarding birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship has been part of the culture and history here in the United States for a very long time. But when President Trump came back into office last year, January, he signed an executive order, okay, that would limit birthright citizenship in a very significant way. And with respect to that executive order, if a woman is unlawfully present here in the United States, or if she's just here visiting temporarily and she's still in lawful status on her visa, if she has a baby here in the United States and the father is not at least a green card holder, well, that baby being born here in the United States would not be considered a U.S. citizen. That's at the heart of his executive order on birthright citizenship. This issue of birthright citizenship went up to the Supreme Court last year. Around this time, I had videos out there talking about the technical issue that the Supreme Court was looking at last year. This year, today, right now, they're considering the merit of this executive order. So this is the bigger decision that we've been waiting for a long time now. So once that news breaks, I will be back before you to discuss the birthright citizenship decision. Now, a second decision that I think you need to watch and pay attention to is a request that was filed last week by the government to the U.S. Supreme Court with regard to mandatory detention of individuals who enter the United States illegally, and they are detained by ICE. The government has been aggressively pushing for them to be detained without the availability of a bond. And they would be detained until the immigration judge makes a decision about their case, whether they're going to get a removal order issued against them or not. So this issue of mandatory detention without the ability to get a bond has been before various courts across the country. And the Fifth Circuit and the Eighth Circuit ruled on the side of the government to allow those courts to hold those jurisdictions to hold individuals without the availability of a bond if they enter the United States illegally. It doesn't matter how long they've been in the United States. It doesn't matter. You could be here for 10 years and caught up and arrested or detained by ICE. And if you're in one of those jurisdictions, you would unfortunately face this kind of mandatory detention. But some other circuits ruled in the opposite direction, like the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, and said, well, wait a minute, that's not right. They should not be treated in that manner. They should be able to say to a judge, I need to be released based on the fact that I'm not a flight risk, I'm not a danger to society, and some other factors about me make me a good candidate to get a bond and continue my removal process while I'm back home and while I'm able to work and support my family. So the Sixth Circuit and other circuits took that position. So now there is a split, of course, with regard to how all of this is being treated. And the government filed an appeal last week, filed an appeal of the Sixth Circuit's decision, and they're asking now for the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene and weigh in and make a decision on this. The Supreme Court last week issued a couple of rulings that sided with the Trump administration that have real significant impact, and we're going to talk about those cases next. But the just shifting away a little bit from the U.S. Supreme Court into a very important decision that came out of the Washington D.C. Court of Appeals that ruled with regard to expedited removal. Remember expedited removal, the fast track process to remove people from the U.S. without giving them that opportunity to take their case before an immigration judge. Well, the appeals court last week in D.C. ruled that that the Trump administration can proceed with its policy to go after individuals nationwide. You do not need to they're not, the government is no longer limited to detaining individuals and turning them around in a very fast way back to their home country if they're only within a certain miles, so to speak, of the border. No, under this expanded policy, they could go after people on the interior of the United States who enter the U.S. illegally and cannot prove that they've been in the country for at least 2 years. That's really the crux of it. And so the administration can continue with that policy. I shared a video of last week after this news broke that talked with you a little bit about the fact that you've got to be able to make a case to ICE that you should not fall under this fast track deportation process. You should have certain documents with you to prove how many years of residency you've had in the United States. I also have another YouTube video from last year called Fast Track Deportation that goes into a lot more details about this and how you can really argue your way out of this. So check out YouTube, McBean Immigration TV last year for my video on expedited fast track deportations for more information. Now, going back to the U.S. Supreme Court, last week, they ruled that customs, CBP, this is for green card holders. They ruled last week that CBP can use their suspicion or discretion, so to speak, with regard to a green card holder who is trying to come back into the United States after international travel. If that green card holder has a criminal record, has been arrested or charged with a crime, well, customs can treat you differently. Despite the fact that you have a green card, you will be treated a little differently, and you will be paroled into the United States, which can make it a lot easier for the government to deport you down the road. The Supreme Court sided with the Trump administration on this very issue last week. So if you are a green card holder and you have a pending criminal matter, do not leave the United States. The best tip at this point is not to leave the United States until your criminal matter is fully resolved, because you do not want to be treated differently, your admission to the United States to be treated differently when you return to the country. Another decision that we talked briefly about that came out last week out of the Supreme Court has to do with TPS, temporary protected status, where by the court ruled that the Trump administration can proceed with terminating TPS for Haitians and Syrians. This ruling, friends, is what the Trump administration has been waiting on. They've been waiting on this. They feel quite vindicated, so to speak, and we're waiting for some sort of official announcement or guidance to come out from the administration, from DHS, with regard to the actual end date. Technically speaking, February, there was an end date in February earlier this year. Before that, there was an end date in September of last year. Ironically, yesterday, or it might have been the day before, I don't know, last year, this time, I did a video uh, that talked with you about the fact that that TPS is ending and you've got to prepare yourself. And there were practical steps that I discussed with you last year, right around this time, about TPS. And some of you did what you needed to do. You consulted with different lawyers, you started your process, and things, you're on track. Others, if you have not done something yet, then you need to act. But if you haven't acted by now, I don't know when you're going to act, because now is the time to really try to get your status sorted out, certainly. And so Secretary Mullins of the DHS has said yesterday in an interview that planes will be full of Haitians going back to Haiti. Planes will be full, and they're offering $2,100 to you to leave the United States. Now, I don't think that this deportation process will be as swift as what's being discussed, unless what they are planning on doing is targeting firstly those who have a removal order. TPS holders who have old removal orders, they, I think, will be the first target here. And you do have rights. You still have rights to fight your case, and by trying to reopen that removal case or trying to file an emergency motion to stay the removal. Those are some of the things that you really need to be discussing today with an attorney if you have a removal order and your TPS is coming to an end. Now, the do not panic, because if you do not have a removal order, you might have some options ahead of you. Speak with an attorney to see what those options are, whether it includes cancellation of removal or asylum or withholding of removal or adjustment of status. Start a discussion with an attorney. You could work with someone locally if you choose to, where you're located, or you could even meet with us virtually if you're outside of the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area. Do something. That's the bottom line. Lastly, last week there was also a lawsuit that was filed. This is with respect to DACA. DACA, let's try to get this up. A lawsuit was filed last week that challenges the delays that DACA holders are facing with their renewals, their EAD renewals. Some people have lost their jobs. Other people are getting sick because of the stress that is upon them as they wait for their DACA renewals. The government told them that they need to apply early for DACA, and they have done so, yet the government has not acted with regard to their renewals. And so key organizations filed this lawsuit, including the Justice Action Center, the Immigration Institute of the Bay Area, East Bay Sanctuary Covenant, and Cornell Law School joined in as well. And this is challenging the government's delay with processing the work permit, the renewals for DACA holders. I will keep you guys posted on that front. With respect to other lawsuit news, we did file, it was today, this morning, our local counsel filed it for us. We had some technical difficulties on Friday, it never fails, but we filed our round 3 lawsuit challenging the delays and the challenge in the policy primarily, and the tactics to delay processing cases at USCIS, despite the fact that Dorcas lifted the hold on immigration applications for nationals from 39 countries. So we had filed our round 3 lawsuit. We also have round 1 and round 2 lawsuits underway. We have another lawsuit in DC challenging the 75 country policy, but to nationals from 52 countries that we've narrowed it down to 52. We have a hearing coming up next month on our preliminary injunction in July, at the end of July in that case in Washington, D.C. So we are moving ahead. We also are evaluating you for those of you who are unfortunately caught up in the 75 country delay and pause. We're evaluating you to determine whether you have an individual lawsuit that we could file on your behalf, because we do individual lawsuits as well. Okay, so those are the big updates that I wanted to share with you today. Now, with after all of that has been said, let's go right into your immigration questions. Come on in and type in freedom now. Thank you so much for being here as usual. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See, Rockland County is in the house. Is that in Maryland, Rockland County, or here in New York, Rockland County? I think there's a Rockland in Maryland, if I'm not mistaken. California is here. Hello, hello from sunny California. All right. What is the more effective strategy with regard to litigation? Should we do an individual lawsuit or join a group lawsuit? It depends on your circumstance. It depends on what circumstances and your resources, quite frankly. The individual lawsuits, of course, tend to be much more expensive than joining a group lawsuit for only $1,500. And so cost is one of the factors that I think many people think about. Also, what they think about is whether they're going to lose their work permit or their big opportunity ahead of them because of this unreasonable delay at USCIS. People have various reasons why they would go down the road of an individual lawsuit versus a group lawsuit. Evaluate what's best for you and your family. Thank you, guys. Freedom now. And also with the group lawsuits, sometimes with ours, there will be a little bit of a delay, of course, as we work on hundreds of plaintiffs' files to verify information. So with a group lawsuit like ours, you will experience some delays. That is a fact. We're working through those issues, but we usually give at least 30 days. Well, 30 days. We give ourselves 30 days to get it filed after onboarding has ended. Hopefully, in the days ahead, we're working towards this. We would make it a much more efficient process to get the group lawsuits filed. Let's see. This is a naturalization question. For the naturalization process, with regard to good moral character, have I noticed whether the government has been reviewing an applicant's credit report? I have not heard about that happening, at least not on the files that we have here at McBean Law. I have not heard any of my colleagues discuss that issue. Do you think applying for premium processing is worthwhile? Speak one-on-one with an attorney about that, Seema, because in a group lawsuit meeting that I had last week, this issue came up. I said one thing, and then one of the plaintiffs said, "Oh, but normally lawyers provide a different advice with regard to the I-140 and premium processing. I don't know if that's what you're looking to do." And so then one of my colleagues here, who is one of our experts on employment-based petitions, said, yeah, that plaintiff was correct about that. I'm not the expert on employment law, so I'm not the one to ask about that. Speak one-on-one with one of my colleagues here at our firm who handles employment cases. Let's go. I am one of your clients. I'm one of your clients here in California. Hello, hello. I had to immediately scan the rest of this before I continued. Is it true that it will take 7 years for an alien daughter? So I-130 petition from the U.S. citizen mom. So it does take several years for the adult child or son or daughter the case to process because of the backlog, so to speak, in that category and the availability of visas each year. Congress has limited that number. So it does take several years for the case to make its way all the way until the finish line. As a citizen, can I file for my mom for her to come here from Nigeria while she stayed back in the United States? So what this individual is asking is whether she could start an adjustment of status process for your mother. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And the government at this time has said that it has lifted the hold on immigration applications for nationals from Nigeria and other countries that had previously been on hold. But we're still monitoring the impact of what they've said. But absolutely, you can file for your mother who is here and you're seeking adjustment of status for her. Double tap the screen, come on in, say hello. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey. If you're scrolling through on TikTok, thank you so much for dropping in. Double tap the screen with some hearts. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. With the new policy for residents, I had a case and it was vacated and it was dismissed. Mary is asking. So Mary, this is with regard to international travel. You might be fine. Speak one-on-one with an attorney. Is there any chance of the judge making a decision on the 75 countries visa pause in the shortest amount of time? Abba is asking. So Abba, if it's about our lawsuit, we do believe that the judge is going to move very swiftly on this because our judge has indicated that he wants to proceed with our preliminary injunction on an expedited basis. So I don't anticipate that he's going to delay a decision on our preliminary injunction. If you're referring to any other lawsuits out there, perhaps maybe Clinic versus Rubio, I don't know what the timeline is on that bigger lawsuit. Freedom now, guys. Good to see you today. Oops. Let's go. Let's see. Is it advisable to still file an I-130 and I-485 as a green card holder for my wife who came here on a visitor visa from Trinidad and we got married 90 days after being here? So long as your category, the F2A category is current, which I believe it is still current, you're eligible and your wife is still within her I-94 lawful status period, you may proceed with a case, but certainly have someone one-on-one look at your qualifications, your wife's qualifications to make sure it's a very good case and get it filed. I wouldn't delay on filing a good case. All right, freedom now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What about green card for refugees who applied 2 years ago? The case was at the NBC. Now Emma is saying it's at the local office. What does that mean? They might call you. It's going to be it's being processed locally at the field office. It sounds like you're doing a 485 adjustment of status. You might be called in for an interview because they are scrutinizing these refugees or these asylee cases very, very, very closely, just like how they're scrutinizing VAWA. Okay, VAWA applicants, some of you with your good, credible cases out there, including our cases, all of these VAWA cases are under a microscope at this time in light of the immigration scam that broke with regard to Alexandra Lozano and the shockwaves that are being felt throughout the system. Even the AP put out an article about this issue with regard to the immigration scams and how it has harmed thousands and thousands of her clients. And she has 54,000 pending cases at USCIS with her name on it today as being reported out. And so VAWA, those were VAWA cases largely that she filed. VAWA, as a result, is under a serious scrutiny right now, and a lot of people, obviously, from the filings that she had put together or her company, are facing removal. Now, if you are one of her clients, USCIS issued a statement last week directing you to take certain steps and to certainly get your file from that firm and to seek outside counsel, of course. And there are immigration attorneys out there consulting. My colleagues mentioned that we've had some consultations as well with those former clients. I have not met with anyone from who is a former Lozano client. I have not personally, but my colleagues have. These are cases that are being evaluated. My understanding from reading what other immigration lawyers who have been taking those cases, or what they've been saying in these chat forums, is that some people have a way forward, but their case need to be cleaned up, or records need to be reviewed. They might have a different pathway. So immigration attorneys are taking these former clients and evaluating whether they in fact do have a good case, credible case, or not. So this is sending shockwaves through the system, particularly with respect to VAWA filing. So expect delays with your VAWA cases. I-485 has been denied, and placed in removal immediately. I've been placed in removal immediately, but I have since refiled my I-130. Can the person onboard? Onboard, are you referring to onboard into our lawsuit? Uh, I don't know what I don't know what you're referring to there. We do not have any onboarding happening now. All of our lawsuits are just underway, and there's plenty to do. So if once we start another round, I will be sure to notify you. Freedom now, guys. Let's see. Let's go down a little bit. My case is under administrative processing in Pakistan since October 2025. Can I file a lawsuit? You could speak with us about what's going on there. Of course, we're going to consider potentially doing an individual suit for you. Contact us for an appointment. You can meet with me. I'm taking those appointments for lawsuit-related evaluation. So are a couple of my other colleagues here at our firm. So let's talk one-on-one about that. I had an interview on June 4th. I'm from Haiti. Should I keep waiting? Should I keep waiting? Interview at USCIS? Is that who you interviewed with? Your case should have been lifted. Give it a little bit more time to see if they actually make a decision on your case. Is Jamaica off of the immigration pause list? No, unfortunately, it is not off. All of the countries are still there. Let's see. I have a 10-year green card and a travel document. Is it safe to travel abroad? You could travel on your green card, but I caution you to travel if you have a criminal record. Speak one-on-one with an attorney about the criminal record and whether you're good to go. And if you are good to go, what documents you should bring with you, like your certified dispositions showing how the case was resolved. Thank you, guys. Freedom is a must, someone says here. Let's see. Is birthright citizenship retroactive? It should not be. It should not be. It should not be retroactive. It's usually these types of decisions, uh, the way the law works, it's usually not retroactive. Thank you, guys. Let's go down to the next question. Let's see. Let's see. Hello, my husband is part of the third round of the 39-country USCIS adjudication pause lawsuit, so thank you for submitting it. Will there be a Zoom meeting in the near future for plaintiffs? Yes, we're going to have one specifically with you guys. We haven't met with you yet. We wanted to get our filing in, and so we're going to meet with you and tell you a little bit about the strategy and what our next steps are. So be on the lookout. The email will be coming from my colleague named Michaela. I haven't selected the date yet, but I will, and it's going to be very, very soon. Going forward, we're looking to have one weekly live. We're just putting some finishing touches on that coordination, and then we could continue to update our plaintiffs weekly through that live session. Also, if you're a plaintiff, you should have also gotten, I think round 3, you should get yours today maybe, but you should have gotten an email from us a few days ago with the tracking page, the litigation tracking page and the password. Check your email, check your spam folder or junk in box if you did not get that email from Michaela with the link and with the password. We've uploaded some of our pleadings to each of those lawsuits so that you guys can see what we have done for you in transparency. We're not putting the full docket on there. We do not have the time to put a full docket for all of these cases. It takes away time litigating and helping our clients through complex problems. So we're keeping you updated on the major motions and pleadings that we filed on your behalf. And also, great idea. It took a Friday Zoom meeting for the plaintiff who gave me this great idea during that Zoom meeting on Friday to also include what's happening with the plaintiffs, updates like, oh, my case was approved, my I-130 was approved, my 612 waiver was approved, my 601A waiver was approved, 485 approved. Just also include that on the tracking page. And so we got to work immediately. So for round 1, you'll see that information. Round 2, I think there might be something. So we're trying to listen to you as well. And thank you so much for your feedback. We did put that in place for you. Freedom now. And then at round 3, if you had not gotten any information yet about the tracking page, I know the team is working on it. If you had not gotten your link and your password, be on standby. It is on our list. And I did email the team about that this morning as well. Now that your case is filed, so we'll load up the complaint for you to see. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the super chat that I see here. Thank you, guys. And this question says, hello, my lawyer, awesome show. Is it advisable that I could contact my congressman to inquire about my adjustment of status, asylum, and travel document to USCIS after being joined in a multi-plaintiff lawsuit? Yes, absolutely. I've been telling plaintiffs that during these meetings. Fine, put them to work, get their feedback on the record so that we could see what is being said by USCIS. So yes, you have a right to go to your local congressman's office and say, my name is such and such, my address is such and such, I'm one of your constituents, and here's the problem that I'm having. May I have a case manager or caseworker in your office who could help me speak to USCIS or speak to whatever the agency is, because this is the problem I've been facing, and here's my receipt numbers, and here's how long my case has been pending. And then they will go to work for you and reach out and see what they could learn for you. Absolutely, put them to work for you. Individual hearing is coming up. This person is in removal and has an individual hearing coming up, is planning on getting married. Can I just present the marriage certificate to the court? So, the court, just so you understand, the court will obviously consider the fact that you recently got married and whether you've gotten married for the purpose of getting out of the removal process. You'll still be responsible for proving that it's a bona fide genuine marriage, and your attorney will need to strategize with you about how he or she is going to really convince the court that that maybe your case could be reset for a master calendar instead of this individual final hearing that's coming up. So some strategy is really needed there. Any news on work permits? News on work permits. Work permits are still delayed through DACA, with DACA recipients seeking renewals. However, some people have been getting their work permits. Marriage work permits are coming in for some people. We're still monitoring what's going on with those from the 39 country and how fast the government is moving to train their people to get back to work on these 39 country files. So, aside from those, let's see what else is going on. Things are slow with VAWA. Which category are you part of, sir? What is your lawsuit? What is your work permit connected to? What application? What is the cost for a waiver for a Jamaican with a record? Nothing bad, but they just said that I need one. That's a great question. Nothing bad. But they say I need a waiver. I don't think what they are talking about, my history or whatever that issue is a bad thing. So get a consultation in with an attorney. You could meet with us and we'll talk to you about whether we think the embassy is wrong or right. If they're Sometimes they get it wrong. Sometimes they do get it wrong. So it's good to get another opinion about it. And we'll help you to understand whether you really need a waiver for whatever that thing was, right? That problem was. Good afternoon, McBean. Is it possible for you to share or pin your website to book a consultation with you to this chat? Go into once you're finished with, you've had enough of this, just go right into our page there on Instagram. And at the very top, you'll see the link. I think you'll see, something like this. And the link to book a consultation is there. But just so you know, not to book a consultation, but to contact us. You're on you we don't have a system really in place for the general public to book on your own. We like to screen you first to ensure that you're a good fit and we're a good fit for you before you spend money on a consultation. We also have on our website under our contact page a link I'm sorry, a form that you could fill out that will tell you whether you need a consultation or not, whether you should book or not. So we try to help you as well because we don't like to have meetings with individuals and take your money if you don't have a way forward. We really like for you to go through some questions on our website first, and it will tell you whether the system thinks that you should speak with an attorney, okay? Whether you might have a case, because that would really be the only reason I think you should pay money to speak with an attorney. There aren't any updates with regard to the 75 country ban. The only update that I shared is with regard to our lawsuit, and we have a hearing coming up at the end of next month on the preliminary injunction. Is it okay to file the N-400 application with a pending conditional removal? Yes, if you're talking about the I-751, yes, at the 2 years and 9, yeah, 2 years and 9 month mark, If you're qualified by still being in that genuine marriage and living together with your spouse, then filing for naturalization could be a good way to go. Be careful, though, about filing for naturalization, friends. This is just a helpful tip because we had a consultation like this very recently. If you have a removal, I'm sorry, if you have a criminal record and you're going through the removal of conditions process, speak with an attorney before you file for the N-400 because USCIS is critically looking at criminal records. So it's possible for you to be approved of your 751 removal of conditions and be fine and okay without them getting into a deeper scrutiny with regard to the criminal record. Of course, they want you to disclose some things there too, but when you're going through the naturalization process, friends, that is a deeper level of scrutiny. So speak with an attorney before you decide to file the N-400 if you have a criminal record. All right. Freedom now, guys. I hope you're doing well today. You have some great questions. Let's see. Um, does 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 an approved J-1 visa waiver give a person a good chance to get adjustment of status approved based on marriage? The marriage was in 2018. We had a child together in 2020. My J-1 visa ended 2020, overstayed. J-1 waiver for 2-year home rule was approved earlier this year. So your adjustment of that's great. Congratulations, by the way, on that waiver. That's awesome. With regard to adjustment of status, of course, they're still going to be looking at the other issues with regard to any other inadmissibility problems that are on your record, like your immigration history, your history with regard to if there's a criminal problem record, things like that will still be examined. But it sounds like you're in good shape. You're in a good position right now to finish strong with the adjustment of status. What about for Haiti? What's the question specifically? I have a video last week. Was it Friday when that news came out? Or Thursday, whatever the day was when the Supreme Court's decision regarding TPS for Haiti came out, I did a live session. And in that live session, I pulled up my notes that I drafted in that moment and shared with you some strategies for you to think about if you have TPS that is ending. If you're from Haiti, go watch that video. And I have another old one too out there too. I need a consultation. How do I connect? You can connect by calling us at 914-898-9488 or go to the bio and you'll see our contact information there. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Thank you for the hearts there on TikTok. Let's see. Thank you also for the heart. My husband did not show up. Okay, where's the rest of the question? My case was denied due to my husband not showing up. Can I now apply for VAWA? Deb is asking. So Deb, if you were abused in the marriage, what else was going on? He didn't show up for the interview. Not sure why he didn't show up, but that alone, of course, is not a basis to apply for VAWA. You'll need to show that you were in a genuine marriage, but you faced abuse in that marriage. So you may speak with an attorney about whether you meet the criteria for VAWA before filing for it. I'm sorry you're going through that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any update on the visa pause? None, not, I've shared updates already regarding that. Okay. Application for citizenship. Been married for 10 years. I have my permanent residency card for almost 5 years. Simple, straightforward. Do you recommend that I get an attorney? What you can do if it does sound straightforward. I would caution you to maybe at a minimum get a consultation just to see whether it is really, really straightforward. There are times when I meet with someone who I then, through the discussion and the questions that are being asked by me and that individual, more information comes out that I then say, oh, I think this might be an issue here that you'll need to pay attention to. The government is likely to shine a light on this, but here's how you could handle it. Here's what I suggest. Before filing, go out, take care of this situation first. And then maybe in 3 months or 2 months, whatever the case might be, you'll be in a stronger position to file that case. So maybe, have that just have that kind of discussion and then see how confident you are after that type of discussion. But absolutely, some people can do it on their own. Any news on the pause with respect to Nigeria? No, there is no specific news that I have to share at this time. Let's see. Freedom now, guys. When will Haitian TPS holders need to stop working? You're going to just continue to wait for the guidance from the government with regard to the work permit. I don't have any date. I don't have any information to share with you today on this issue. I can't imagine they're going to sit on this very long, though, because they've been highly motivated for a very long time with regard to Haitian TPS. Is there anything a person can do against the Supreme Court ruling? You know, the Supreme Court interpretation of the law, once they come out with that decision, it really stings, it burns. It's very hard the only thing that could ever change it is maybe giving it 40 years, 30 or 40 years for a new bench, new change, public opinion changing, culture changing. You're going to need decades in order to really get around certain decisions. Let's go. Is it safe for a 10-year green card holder from Haiti to travel to Haiti at this time? Green card holders are not facing any bans, okay, with regard to their ability to come back into the United States, regardless of which country they visited. So there are no bans that would prevent you from returning to the U.S. as a green card holder. Thank you for your super chat question. If a green card holder has been charged but never convicted because I was found not guilty and the case was sealed, am I safe to travel and return to the United States? You might very well be. Yes, you might very well be. If you're going to travel internationally, absolutely bring your disposition record to show how things were resolved for you. Thank you guys for passing through today on this live session. It's a beautiful day outside. Hope you had a good weekend. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide. Do we take administrative processing cases? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. What should you do if you have two pending applications with USCIS? One where your brother has filed for you, and one where your father has filed for you when he had his green card. Father is now a US citizen. What the what you should you're in fine position, okay? You're in good position. You in a good position. Your father's case is going to proceed much faster than the brother's case. And it is possible for you to get your green card through your father. You might need a waiver down the road. I don't know where you're located at this time. You may or may not need a waiver later on, but you won't need to really take any major action at this time with your case. But I would also want to know, though, how far things are with your father's case. How far, how far are things? Have you gotten a decision yet on the I-130? Is your father's case at the National Visa Center? What's going on with that one? Because you may or may not need to take steps, I should say. I should have said earlier. It all depends on where things are presently with your father's case. But you're in good position, okay? You're in a good position. Okay, let's keep going. How long is the wait-in time for F4 India? Go to the visa bulletin for July and take a look at that category. I'm unable to pull up the visa bulletin at this time. Okay, let's see. Go down a little bit. Freedom Now to answer a different question. I have an upcoming marriage-based interview next month. I'm also part of round 3 lawsuit with McBean. How will my outcome affect the pending yet to be filed? Our case was filed, by the way, our lawsuit was filed. How will the outcome affect the pending yet to be filed third batch? I'm not sure what you're asking there, plaintiff, but it was filed. And keep us posted, by the way, on your interview, once you've had it, how things went, so that we could track some things there. We've been hearing a lot about July 1st, but DHS has not issued anything. What should we do? And Anne is asking. And I think you're referring to Haitian TPS, right? I have seen July 1st come up too, but I couldn't verify the information that is circulating with regard to July 1st, which is why I didn't mention it today. But I have seen the same information circulate. Right now you've got to wait. And if you have a process going through a lawyer, great. But otherwise, just wait. I know that this is going to put pressure on employers as well, because employers who were relying on your work permit based on your TPS, they are now faced with having some tough decisions that they have to make on this Monday morning as well. So this shockwave of TPS being allowed to end is really a problem for both the TPS holders, their family, as well as employers in the US. If TPS ends, should I file for DACA, even though I have a pending 485 and I-130 currently? So with respect to DACA, as you know, is still being held up unreasonably by a judge in Texas, but the government did agree to allow new applicants to come into this process, but the court hasn't moved the needle in years now. I think 4 years this has been going on. You have your 485 I-130 pending. That's good. That's really good. I would say move forward, see how things shake out with your 485 and I-130. If you're from Haiti, did you say that you're from Haiti? I'm sorry, I didn't. I'm assuming too much here. No, you did not. So I won't say. Oh yeah, if TPS ends. So I'm assuming maybe you're Haitian or maybe Syrian. If it does end, it will end under this administration. Your 485 and I-130 can help you. But then again, think about also the fact that USCIS is still slugging, progressing, it looks like slowly, with regard to the adjudication hold. So there's that layer of problem that is being managed through litigation. Are you already a member of our lawsuit or any other group lawsuits, or through an attorney? That could potentially help you in this moment. The friends, the layers that the government has created is really, really significant. I do think that you're just going to have to fight your way. Some of you will need to fight your way through all the way until the end and just be prepared mentally, emotionally, financially for a fight all the way through the end. Some people, some. But if you have a good case, bring it to the government, bring it to USCIS for processing and get your benefits. Let's see. Let's go here. I've already discussed updates regarding the 75 country visa. Pause. How long does it take now to get permanent residency after you file a marriage based green card? It really depends. Things have slowed down with marriage cases, but then I'm going to say something that might frustrate you a little bit. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't. And it's actually good news. And the good news is that we published a success story last night involving our client from Jamaica who got her green card after 3 months of us filing her case. So you have some cases that progress in this manner, and then you have other cases that can take longer, 12 months to 18 months. At McBean Law, we helped our client from Jamaica become a lawful permanent resident in just 3 months. Her journey began unexpectedly with a simple trip to Home Depot, where she met her future husband. When she came to the US, when she came to us, she came to us in November of last year. She had entered the United States lawfully on her visitor visa. She had not left the country and had never filed an immigration application before. Although her case appeared straightforward, we carefully reviewed her immigration history, verified every detail, where am I? Strong evidence and supporting document, and filed her adjustment of status case. And we filed it in March of this year, and she attended her interview. It was in Detroit, and the interview was in June, and she got her approval of her adjustment of status. A few weeks later, the adjustment of status case was not approved at the interview or even same day, which is what, we were accustomed to, but, they've changed things with the 485. But her green card was approved a few weeks later. While no attorney can guarantee how quickly USCIS will process a case, this result shows how careful preparation can help create a smoother path forward. So, friends, things like that are happening, not just with us. I've seen other people also share their stories about some fast processing, but the case has to be prepared very carefully in order to get this type of outcome. But I'm very happy to see that it is still possible in this environment to get this type of outcome. All right. So that's that. If you have a success story, share share what was approved, whether it was a work permit. We're celebrating every work permit nowadays too. Never had to do that in the past, but doing so now. How long does it take to file a mandamus? How long it and how much does your office charge for it? This is for an EAD from Nigeria. So I can't tell you how long it's going to take, obviously, for the team to prepare, for us to prepare it. But we do move swiftly, particularly with regard to the work permit. We did that recently for one of our Nigerian clients, and we got a preliminary injunction for him in the Northern District of California, and he was able to start his job right away, like days before the job was to start. The judge made the decision. So it just depends on the facts, of course. Freedom now. Freedom now. I'm from Togo. My dad brought me here, and I'm 21 years old now, and I'm filing for my citizenship. Will I be okay to file? Will you be okay to file? So, meet the criteria, of course, for naturalization and get your case filed. Okay? Do not hold back on your filing, but just file knowingly. Let's see something here. You guys know what I'm looking up. Togo is on that list, 39 country. But you can't do anything about that until after your case is filed and pending. And then you monitor how things are working out with the processing. And if you need to work with us down the road, you work with us down the road. Can you be my lawyer, please? Organic is asking. Contact our office to see whether we can work together, whether you have an immigration case for us to help you with. Okay. Happy to have that discussion with you. Or if you'd like, you could fill out a form on our website under contact us, under contact actually, and fill out that form about and find out whether you need a consultation before you book, okay? You could do that as well. We ask some basic questions like, are you married? Do you have children? Has anyone ever filed an immigration petition for you in the past? Has your case been denied? Some basic questions. Have you ever been arrested abroad? And some other questions like that to help us determine whether we should move forward or not with a consultation. TPS for Honduras will have no more litigation in November. I have not been following very closely what's going on with litigation involving Honduras, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's see. I don't know anything about re-parole, Ukrainian. I'm not sure. My husband is a US citizen and my priority date is July 2024. But yeah, I haven't gotten my visa yet. Which country are you from? Which country are you from, Queen? Are you subjected to the the immigrant visa pause? Okay. Let's see. My partner and I are hoping to become one of your clients. Yes, start off with a consultation for us to evaluate what's going on and how we might be able to assist you. I have a job offer, so I could lose my job if I don't get my work permit processed through by July 27th. So I really need a mandamus. You can contact us and you can meet with me or one of my colleagues. But I'd like to talk with you if you don't mind. If someone applies for an I-130 and has not yet received an update, what can be done for them? So with regard to the I-130, you will hear from the government when the time comes, right? When the time is right. I hate that I just said that, but I said it. The reason I said it is because it depends on your category and what's going on. Is it oversubscribed? Is there a backlog there? Are you an immediate relative of a US citizen, or are you going through a preference category process? Those are the reasons why I said what I said, because sometimes it depends on your category. Sometimes people are waiting for years before they get an update from the government about an I-130. Also, but if there is a problem with the I-130, typically the government will contact you early into that process to let you know that they're missing something or they need more evidence to support your I-130 case. That often does happen in the beginning for those who are missing key evidence, but for others, who are not, and you're in a preference category, you're going to have to give it some real time. And to know how much time to give it, track the visa bulletin by Googling visa bulletin and and the current month, June or July, and then find your category on the tables that are presented below and see, oh, who is eligible for an immigrant visa or a green card based on the date here of filing. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that could help you with how to read the visa bulletin, okay? So that you can be educated for yourself about how long it's likely to take. Now is the time to get smart about immigration. Again, get smart about immigration. Get smart about immigration. Someone says, yes, we did get the tracking website, but I didn't see any updates on the page yet. Okay, is that for round 3? That's for round 3 DMRG? Is that round 3? Okay. I have a friend who came with a work visa 10 years ago, overstayed, and uses a social security number for credit cards, business license, to do plumbing work, etc. Not any bad things. How is the chance of being stopped? Being stopped by who ICE isn't going to be, it's not going to be connected to maybe the use of that social security number, which obviously that individual is not authorized to use. It wouldn't be for that reason. It could be for a reason like being stopped based on some sort of traffic issue. And maybe that person is in a jurisdiction in Florida that shares data with ICE. And then that's how ICE or DHS enters into that person's life. It's usually those types of facts that bring DHS into the picture versus what you've described here. Although again, unauthorized use of social security numbers is not advisable, of course. Freedom now. Classic question. Classic. How can I ask a question? I had to get this one. I love it when that question is asked. How? How can I ask a question on your live Q&A show after typing in, how can I ask a question? Oh, funny. Classic, classic, classic. Doesn't take much to make me laugh, huh? Okay. Are they still processing the work permit? We applied for adjustment of status based on marriage in January. Yes, they are still processing work permits. Yes. You should have, hopefully you had submitted your 761 application. It's been 8 months since it's been 8 months. My case have not been processed yet. Can you provide some more details? What type of case do you have? I can't provide any emails without knowing that basic fact. I was interviewed last December and I never got an interview. And then the person says I haven't gotten an update. And it's a marriage case, interviewed in December, marriage case, no updates yet. Are you part of the 39 country pause that was in effect? Still, maybe, I don't know. Is that what delayed things potentially, or were there issues or questions that came up that you or your partner had problems answering, and maybe you didn't really clear things up after being brought back together if they separated you at the interview? Did anything like that happen? Because those are usually the reasons that uh, can explain a delay after an interview. Let's see. I'm in your first lawsuit. What should I do if USCIS says they are conducting a review of my case? It's 88 days past premium processing. So I imagine that you might have already reported to us that you had paid for premium processing because we did ask for this information some weeks ago, I think, for when we were looking for your updates. What you can do is continue to update us on this. I don't know what could very well be holding your case up specifically. You're in the lawsuit, so I can't talk to you further about this publicly. Um, by the way, I can't go any further. You can communicate with us one-on-one through lift@mcbeanlaw.com. And then the lead attorney, co-lead, I guess, co-counsel, and others will assist you further. Co-lead. She's gonna like that. I've been told by a plaintiff that you call me a co-lead, that I'm a co-lead. Yeah. I'll tell her first, guys. Okay. I submitted my spouse's petition in March of 2025. My spouse is living in Pakistan, but my case is still at USCIS 15 months past, not moved to the NVC yet. Let's see, submitted this. Are you a US citizen, sir, who filed for your wife in Pakistan? By the way, your case was held up due to the adjudication. No, I'm wrong. Pakistan is not part of the adjudication hold. That's the 75 country. Um, I don't know what could be holding your wife's case up at USCIS. Did you get a request for evidence? Did they ask you for more evidence? So there's no issue. My wife is a Portuguese student. Is that the same person? Portuguese. Dr. Nadim, that's who I'm looking for here. So, yeah, Dr. Nadim, you're I'm curious as to whether you had gotten a request for evidence regarding your wife's case and also whether you're a US citizen or not, sir. This person says we've cleared everything. Everything was approved. Now just waiting for an interview letter. My country is Pakistan. This is another person. And Pakistan is part of the pause country. Will my interview be done or not? Yes, they're going to move forward with your interview because the strategy with the 75 country pause is to interview you, take you all the way to the end. And after they've determined there's really no problems with you, there's no inadmissibility issue, you've passed everything, we're going to have to place you on hold because you were going to get that visa and we don't want you to get that visa. We're going to create a new screening tool that is going to take us forever to do or a long time to put in place. And after that new screening tool for public charge comes out, then we're going to try to apply it again, apply it to you and pull you through a second round of scrutiny before we can release that visa to you. Essentially, guys, that's what's going on right now with that 75 country pause. So yes, there will be an interview. I'm in Djibouti waiting for, I'm from Djibouti, waiting for my 45 since 2024. What should I do? If that's outside of the case processing times as posted by USCIS, you could speak with a lawyer about a mandamus. You could also reach out to your local congressman's office and ask for their help to communicate to USCIS on your behalf. You could also put in your service requests or chat with Emma. But certainly the strongest actions that you could possibly take would be to get your congressman's office involved and to work with an attorney to see if you have a mandamus case that they could file on your behalf. Good questions. Friends, my colleague has reminded us in the chat that if you need help with your immigration case, you may call us at 914-898-9488 or visit McBeanLaw.com, where you can request to schedule a private consultation with an attorney. Every case at our firm begins with an attorney evaluating you and determining whether you do have legal options ahead of you, available to you. And lawyers at our firm are the ones who make that decision. Okay. Thank you. Let's see. I have a traffic ticket for failure to change address. Will that impact my N400 application? No, I don't believe it will. What could impact N400 from a traffic violation standpoint has to do with the number of violations that you have. Do you have a history of that makes it appear that you've just been ignoring the law? You just don't want to follow the law. That could be a problem. Do you have very serious moving violations on your records, one after another, after another, after another, speeding ticket, or you have DUIs, or you've hit somebody with your car? Those are the ones that could create problems with naturalization, which I'm sure people can overcome with good explanation and good help, of course. But for the most part, I think you're good. And let's see, let's ban my first ban of the day. Person said, go home. Okay, so you're banned. You're banned now. You don't have this channel get your thrill, get their thrill on by saying, "Go home." Okay, bye. No longer can access this channel, at least not with that particular YouTube channel that you have there, YouTube account. Okay, let's go. Freedom now, guys. Thank you so much for being with me today. See if there's any other questions I could answer before we wrap up today. Someone said, looping back, haven't received an email from USCIS for more evidence. Well, you could speak with us to see whether what could potentially be going on there, or whether a mandamus is necessary, okay? Whether a mandamus would be necessary. If you got a notice today for an interview for your child and the interview is scheduled for August, does it mean he will be able to come to the United States? Has the ban been lifted now? It doesn't mean that the ban has been lifted, and unfortunately, it's really a pause. The pause on the 75 countries, that pause has not been lifted yet. They're interviewing everyone whose case is ready for an interview at the US Embassy. So your son should still proceed, obviously could proceed with that interview. I would like to join your group lawsuit. At this time, we're not onboarding. We do not have any onboarding going on. But you can join a wait list. I don't think we have a wait list link active. Please, what you can do is subscribe to our email list, so that you could be in the loop when we get our wait list going again, and get folks signed up or added to that wait list. Subscribe today at mcbeanlaw.com/subscribe. Subscribe. What is going on with DACA? DACA, there's litigation that was filed last week by a number of groups, nonprofits, to challenge the unreasonable delay with the DACA EAD renewals. And DACA, as a program itself, as a whole, is still being tied up by that judge in Texas. No decision yet. This one looks like another one to ban. My I-130 has been approved. The RFE was submitted 90 days ago. My I-45 is still pending. Everything has been submitted. Why is there still a wait? They're looking at it. So the RFE that was submitted, what were they asking for? Were they asking for information needed for your I-130 before that was approved? Or is it in connection with your I-45? Just so you know, the I-45, a lot of people, I should say, a lot of people, I'm confident in saying that, are experiencing delays with getting their I-45 decision. Okay, so you're not the only one. You're not the only one. They're really slow with the I-45 approvals these days. Freedom Now, Miss McBean, are they still renewing green card applications? Yes, they are. Okay. Yes, they are. Florida is in the house. Good to have you here, Christelle. Oops. Florida is in the house. Okay, let's see. Do you need to volunteer and get certain certificates when applying for naturalization? It's not like a real requirement that you just all of a sudden go out and join Big Brother, Big Sister, or any of those organizations, although you should consider, if you have the time, certainly to, be part of something that's good. But they're looking at the application as a whole. They're looking at your work history. They're looking at criminal history. They're looking at your immigration history. All of those put together is what they're really looking at and evaluating. And if they need more, if certainly it helps to have to be able to show that you've been contributing to your community somehow, that could definitely help you. Or if you have certain certificates from that you sought for employment advancement or things like that, that those could very well help you as well to show that you're progressive and self-sufficient. That's their thing, self-sufficiency. Okay, thank you guys. All right, we're going to wrap up now. You had great questions today. Thank you so much for joining today's live session. I hope you found it helpful. If you missed the beginning, watch the YouTube version because in the beginning I shared a lot of summaries, important news from the Supreme Court, many different decisions. We are waiting on the Birthright citizenship decision, which could possibly come out today or another one. And let's see. Um, okay. Yeah. Thursday is get the appointment for Thursday. Get the appointment for Thursday. That's actually a really great availability, by the way. So secure, Bobby, your appointment. Um, Here, what was Supreme Court's decision on birthright citizenship is coming out very soon. Could very well be today. And if so, we'll be back together very soon to talk about it. We also talked about other decisions from the Supreme Court involving green card holders who are trapped doing international travel and they have a criminal record or an arrest or a charge on their record, how the government can now treat them. We talked about an appeals court out of Washington, D.C., that made a decision last week about expedited fast-track deportations nationwide, and that's a very important ruling. Then we talked about the fact that the government last week filed a request to the Supreme Court to get their intervention on the mandatory detention, no bond policy that they're pushing back on a decision from the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. They would like to hold people who entered the United States indefinitely. Illegally. They'd like to hold you not indefinitely, until the judge makes the decision on your case, not indefinitely. The government wants to be able to keep you detained until you get that decision from the court. And so they've asked the U.S. Supreme Court to weigh in. And also, we discussed TPS, the Supreme Court's decision with regard to TPS for Haiti and Syria, and DACA holders. There's a lawsuit that was filed also regarding your work permit. Friends, thanks so much for being with me today. Again, our contact information is on the screen for you, 914-898-9488. If you have an opportunity to meet with us in person, take it. We're here for you, or we could meet with you virtually or by telephone. Give us a call or email us at info@mcbeanlaw.com so that we could schedule your consultation. Thanks so much for being with me today. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.